Hey, good morning. Paul McGinnis here. Thanks for checking out these videos. I'm making these every couple days, so you can check them out on Facebook. You can check them out by subscribing on this YouTube channel. And I'm just kind of giving you some encouragement, just some brief thoughts from Scripture to just help you on your daily walk. And I'm moving through the book of Matthew in my own reading, the first gospel that tells us about the life and the story of Jesus. And so I'm bringing some thoughts from there primarily. And in Matthew chapter 4, Jesus is going public, right? He's come out of the wilderness, he's gone through baptism, and he's ready to go public and kind of officially start his ministry. And Matthew, as he writes, he goes back and he quotes this ancient prophecy, and this comes from Matthew 4, verse 16. The people living in darkness have seen a great light. Those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. And I just think about that imagery. It's so picturesque, especially this time of year. Where I live here in North America, we're moving into fall, and so the sunrise is getting later and later each morning. And over the summer, the sun would rise before I'd even get up. But now I'm often up, especially this morning, couldn't sleep too long, so I'm up and it's dark. And behind my house, kind of right where I'm looking, just a bunch of woods and trees. And then the light starts to penetrate that. Just little rays of light just kind of shooting through the leaves and the branches and the trees. And it's such a great image of what we see, right? When Jesus shows up on the scene, when Jesus comes into our lives, when he came into this world, he brings these rays of light and grace and hope. And I love thinking about the light, but you also have to think about the darkness, right? That ancient prophecy and Jesus' whole life and even the whole story of Scripture reminds us that we are living in darkness. We are the people living in the shadow of death. And I think sometimes we forget that. We convince ourselves, especially here in North America, we convince ourselves that life should be easy, that things should go our way, that things should be smooth. And I think that's where a lot of our frustration and our disappointment comes, because we expect too much from this life. We expect it to fulfill everything. We expect things to move along smoothly. We expect life to be downhill, but it's not. And I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but if we're just honest about that, if we realize we're part of a broken world, we're part of a world that is in darkness, we're part of a world that's in the shadows. Don't expect too much from this life, because it's not going to deliver. And so recognize and acknowledge that, we're living in darkness, we're living in brokenness and in difficulty. But Jesus steps into that. Into that darkness comes Jesus. Out of his beautiful light, he comes and steps into our darkness. And so there is hope, there is peace, there is joy. We can at least get a glimpse of what one day we will have in full. And so take hope in that Jesus didn't leave us in this darkness. Whatever difficulty, whatever challenge you're facing, you don't have to do that alone. Jesus moved out of the light and into the darkness to bring light and hope to us. So to those living in darkness, we've seen a great light. To those living in the land of the shadow, a light has dawned. Take that with you today, friend.